What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Cover 3 podcast, bringing you all the latest news from the San Francisco 49ers. I'm joined by Aaron of 49ers First Takes and Sterling Bennett of 49ers Access Podcast. Guys, what's going on? Sterling, we got a tight show. I know you got to be out by 3. I got to be out by 3, so we're going to it's going to be an action-packed hour of nonstop Niner content. So here we go, you guys. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I know I'm having a wonderful day. I love being here, talking to the fans, talking to you guys. But let's start with our first topic of the day, and that is the injury report. So here we go. I mean, at this point, it looks like the Cardinals do have the advantage of having more injured players than the Niners. I know, Aaron, when you saw this, you were a little upset about it because typically the Niners have the longer list. But Aaron, seeing the Niners had a smaller list than the Cardinals, how did that make you feel? What was your reaction to the injury report being so small?
I thought it was a misprint. I'm like, there's no way. They got the wrong logo in front of the wrong team. No, it was great. It was great. Sad part is when you look at it on the Niners end, it's like, okay, they have these guys that are out and whatever, but like, there's no like return of Bosa. There's no return of Warner coming. Like that's the one thing. Like we've had all these like things going on where like all these offensive players are returning, maybe Ayuk, even though I don't believe it. And it's been a nice kind of like thing to get excited about. But yeah, it was fun to see. You wonder how long it'll last. You know me, I'm really negative, so I'm always waiting for the other shoe to drop. But no, it was cool to see that it wasn't a paragraph this time. So
let's go! Cover 3. Joseph Ehrenberg in the chat. What's up, Joe? Okay, so we did have some updates from Mr. Cam Inman. That's how you pronounce it, right? Inman?
Yes, Cam Inman.
Cam Inman. And this is our SeatGeek 49ers injury report brought to you by SeatGeek. Use promo code Dre Area Sports and use promo code 49ers Access to receive up to $25 off your first purchase over at SeatGeek.com. You want to go to the game, you want to help cheer on the Niners, well, go to SeatGeek.com, buy your tickets, use promo code Dre Area Sports and 49ers Access, and save yourself some cash. Okay, so looking at the injury report, we do have this from Cam Inman. Brock Purdy did practice again today. He looked great. I shouldn't say he looked great. He did practice again today. I don't have proof that he looked great. However, participating after being limited all week was Ricky Pearsall, Alfred Collins, and D. Winters. However, there was a little bit of an update. No sign of Deommodore Lenoir after the calf injury reported on Thursday. Sterling, do you think this is going to be an issue where Demo is going to be out this Sunday?
Yeah, I don't know, because they reported him as questionable for this Sunday's game. So I think they're maybe a little optimistic that give him Saturday, maybe he'll be fine, travel day and everything. It does feel as if he's trending towards not playing, which wouldn't be great. But I mean, if we're being kind of honest with ourselves, he hasn't played great the last couple games. And I think maybe having Luter out there, and I don't know, like I love Demo. Obviously he's your best cornerback for a lot of reasons, but the way he played against the Rams was rather uninspired. So maybe getting some fresh blood out there can help something, or more motivated pieces can help the defense. But I don't think Demo plays. I'm really hoping I'm wrong. I'm not usually one to be negative. That really isn't my shtick, but it just felt kind of odd. Like, you have a calf injury, now you're not practicing. We all know calves and San Francisco 49er players do not go hand in hand. So I'm not too optimistic that Demo plays on Sunday.
Wow. That would be a huge blow for San Francisco. However, the Cardinals are without their number 1 and number 2 receiver. Obviously, what's his name? Zay Jones.
Yes.
Zay Jones tore his Achilles last week against the Seattle Seahawks. So that's a pretty big blow for them. And not only that, but Marvin Harrison Jr. had to have an appendectomy. His appendix burst. I mean, what were the odds that was going to happen before San Francisco's game? I was like, maybe the odds are on our side when it comes to the rest of the season. I mean, that's a break. If you look at this, the Niners caught a break. Obviously, Marvin Harrison Jr., get well soon. Appendectomy, he's going to be out probably, obviously this week, probably next week as well. We get back Brock Purdy. We get back Ricky Pearsall. Our offensive line got back Ben Barch and Spencer Burford last week. The team is getting healthier, but there is no help coming to the defensive line. There's nobody in the shadows waiting to come back and say, hey, here we go.
Not this week, at least.
Who are we talking about?
Well, I mean, Alfred Collins is coming back. He didn't play against the Rams, so that certainly helps.
Right, but what I'm saying, there isn't like a big name waiting to come back.
Big name, no, but don't forget Yetur Gross-Matos is still out.
Yetur Gross-Matos, and he'll be a huge help for San Francisco once he does come back. I love how they showed
pass rusher.
Interior pass rusher. I love how they showed video of Nick Bosa walking with no crutches on. That's great. He's not coming back anytime soon. It's not like he's like, hey guys, little do you know, I'm coming back next week. No, you can't do that. The new tendon cannot take that kind of pressure. It takes all season. Now, one of the questions I wanted to ask you guys was, do you think that Nick Bosa, will he be back by training camp next season, or do you think he'll be back sort of around the same time he went out, week 2 of next season? Sterling?
Yeah, I don't know. I that's kind of tough. I just feel like that the recovery is going well, but you have a whole off season to work with and everything. So I don't really want to finger point or point to a certain date for his recovery, but if things are going well and the recovery is going well, then I don't see why he wouldn't be somewhat ahead of schedule and hopefully returning sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I think so. Aaron, what do you think? Do you think that Bosa comes back at the start of the year, or do you think it's going to take him a little while to get back into the swing of things?
I don't think you'll see Bosa till training camp. I really believe that. I just don't. The way the Niners are, the way the Niners are with their injuries, they're already really cloak and dagger. And there's enough issues with all that stuff. But
oh my God, Kenny, what would we do without you? This is just the time we got, man. We got what we got, so it is what it is. But thank you for your insight. I do appreciate that. So speaking of Mr. Brock Purdy, we did have some video here that I want to show you guys. This is Brock warming up in Santa Clara. And hopefully he'll throw. There he is right there throwing the ball. And it's him and Mac Jones throwing. Let's go back to the beginning where you can see more Brock. There he is. So exciting news that Brock Purdy is coming back because, look, as much as I thought Mac Jones was doing a great job at the quarterback position, this is the franchise quarterback. This is the guy that you gave the big contract to. And so if he's healthy enough to play, a guy who's getting paid that much money, that should be your difference maker. That should be the guy that when you bring back in, it changes everything in your offense. Like, well, now we have an elite quarterback. And they're talking about him like he's an elite quarterback, which I think he has been at times. Now, for Brock Purdy, he is one of the most efficient quarterbacks since he became a starter in this league. And now they're getting him back this Sunday. Sterling, do you think there will be buyer's remorse after Brock Purdy's performance on Sunday?
I mean, if you're having buyer's remorse 3 games into a contract, isn't that kind of negligent by your front office?
Yep.
like this isn't like, I don't know, Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson in Denver. It's not like there's something catastrophic happening behind the scenes where, there's problems with branding and, random people wanting offices inside the building and, team whatever the hell Russell Wilson was, team 13, team 3, team 12. I don't even know what number he was when he was in Denver right now. Like, I don't know. It's like Purdy is like the least problematic person on the entire team.
Yeah.
And so I think if anyone is, whether Brock plays really good or Brock comes out and looks just terrible on Sunday, if you're making some proclamation of, wow, what a waste of money, or wow, what a great investment in 3 games off an injury, I think that's pretty idiotic. And if you're doing that, you're an emotional fan that doesn't really have the nuances that are worth listening to, quite frankly.
Yeah. Aaron, what do you think? If Brock goes out there and he has a bad game, what does that mean for him and the Niners?
I mean, I expect him to be rusty coming into this game. I mean, he hasn't played in 2 months almost.
Yeah.
And he's playing with an injury that, is going to stick with him the whole season. So I don't expect Brock to look like he did in, the mid to 2023. He's just not healthy enough to be that guy. And you guys are right about Niner fans not being nuanced and being overly emotional and overly reactive to everything especially when it comes to Brock and Mac Jones. There's such a lack of like the middle thinking. It's either one side or the other. There's no gray area. So when it comes to Brock, I'm ready for Brock to come back. I feel like this offense operates has a different feel to it as far as like time and him being able to make time and scramble and stuff like that. Where Mac Jones is essentially Jimmy Garoppolo. He is a dink and dunk check down merchant. And I think Brock, say what you want about him, takes more chances. And I think that's what results in some of the turnovers that we've experienced with him. But I'm happy to see him back. Happy to see this offense at full form. And they're going to need it because, I mean, they are god awful on defense. I mean, there's nothing good to say about them. No redeeming qualities. So yay for Brock. I hope he can stay healthy in this game. Hope up the offensive line can block, and maybe we'll get a W out of it. We'll see.
I feel like this game is going to go the way of the New York Giants game, where Arizona might look good in their early possessions. I don't know if Sterling, I don't know if you have a breakdown of their offense quarter by quarter like you did with the Giants, but I feel like as the game progresses, they're going to get worse because then they're getting away from their game plan. They're getting away from their scripted plays if they have those. And I think that as the game goes on, they're going to start to wear down very quickly, being that they're so decimated with injuries and they have not had a good season. Sterling, what do you think? Do you think that the Niners get off to a hot start, or do you think this game stays close throughout?
I mean, I think San Francisco wins by 2 scores.
Yeah.
I think it'd be an 11-point difference. I don't think that they're playing the Cardinals, you know.
They're playing the Cards?
I hate to say that. I don't want to disregard what Arizona can do. They beat the Cowboys, who have a really good offense and a really bad defense. They had the Packers close. That Seahawks game last Sunday, I don't know if you can toss it out the window because of how bad they played, but like everything that could go wrong went wrong in that game for the Cardinals. The defense fell apart. Guys got injured. Brissett was getting sacked. That said, I think a big key in this game for San Francisco, especially on defense, which Aaron said has no saving grace, if you will. The run defense, I think, gets Alfred Collins back. It's a big help for them, albeit I don't know how big, but still some help to help fortify the defensive line on the interior. But I also think that Brissett's holding on to the football for 3 seconds an attempt. That is an eternity.
That's a long
in
time.
the NFL. Like if you have quarterbacks that are 1, 2, 3, they're looking around, jumping because no one's getting open, the ball isn't coming out. Guys are going to make mistakes. There's going to be turnovers that are had. And I think if you're Robert Saleh and you know that, if D. Winters and Bethune are going to suck ass in coverage, you know what you do? Delayed blitzes. Bring them home. Once guards evade or kind of go to double team somebody, here comes Winters flying in. Give me a nickel blitz. I know Jair Brown, who has been terrible this year, probably going to play on Sunday. Probably shouldn't. He never gets home on safety blitzes.
He never does.
Kyler Murray's not playing quarterback on Sunday. If you can get to a quarterback with Jair Brown on blitzes, it's Jacoby Brissett. So I do think that getting pressure on Brissett, who right now is the most pressured quarterback, I believe, in football. He has 5 turnover-worthy plays. He'll make mistakes. I think there is a chance where San Francisco's defense, who's kind of been flip-flopping week by week, does bounce back against the Cardinals on Sunday via blitzing by Robert Saleh and company out there.
Okay. Let's go big on the text.
Go big, go home, or go big, go home, or go home.
We go big and we go wide. So Sterling's, we're really pushing on Sterling here.
We got girthy comments.
Little Pringle can action. Here we go. Yeah.
You want a Pringle can? Here we go. I'll make the comments nice and tall. Anyway,
we are bricked up in the comments right now.
Yeah, we are bricked up in the comments. Okay, so having said that, there was some comments from Kyle Shanahan about Mac Jones and how he had to. What was it like telling Mac Jones that, hey, look, it's time for Brock to take back over again? He did have this to say. He said, honestly, it was awesome. He understood the whole time. I think he had a really good idea that Brock was getting there and was going to be ready this week. It wasn't something that I really had to have a big meeting with him or anything, but I did before we went out on the practice field. This is what Mac Jones had to say. He said, he's like, hey, man, I really enjoyed it. I'm really going to have fun on the scout team today, and I'll be ready if I'm ever needed again. Mac Jones seems to say the right things at the right time all season long. He probably, I would say he performed better than anyone expected.
Yep.
I mean, even when you compare him to Sam Darnold, I don't know if Sam Darnold is this efficient the year we had him. So compared to what
2 games, right?
I think he played 2 games, and one game was at the end of the year. He
played the
terrible.
Ravens game for like 3 quarters and played the Rams and lost by a point because Jake Moody couldn't make a PAT.
Yeah, but even in that game, the offense looked weird. But look,
backups.
Anyways, there we go.
Yeah.
If you had to grade Mac Jones' performance, let's just say, an A, B, C, D, or F, how would you grade Mac Jones' performance? Let's start with Aaron.
I think Mac's been a solid B+. I mean, if you go based on like he does what's expected, he's solid. He doesn't do anything otherworldly. He doesn't have that kind of mobility or that kind of athleticism. But he's left the Niners in a position since he's been the starter. They're in a position right now, and I feel a certain way about the defense, whatever. But they're in a certain position right now where Brock comes back with essentially everything set up for the 49ers to succeed. And all Brock has to do is stay healthy and be productive like he's been in the past. So for that, I give Mac a B+. I would give him an A and A+. But, he's had some clunkers or some stuff that he's done that's a little bit indicative of who he was when he was in New England. But for the most part, he's in everything you could ask. I mean, they've stayed afloat. They're still in a chance right now in we're going into week 11 to be in the playoff race. So I couldn't ask for anything more from Mac Jones.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I would go higher. I think I'd give Mac Jones an A+, and that's with the context of, like, I'm not saying he's an A+ quarterback. I just think that you have one win this year with Brock Purdy, your franchise guy, as your quarterback, and there's obviously some context behind that, the injury and whatnot, but Mac has won you 5 games, or been a big reason as to why you won 5 games. And yeah, there's been hiccups along the lines and, throughout the games at times, but the offense, albeit hasn't been this, big, powerhouse, it's been consistent almost the entire season. It's been, we're going to score 20-ish points a game. We're going to be in a place to get some field goals, and we're going to make some timely passes, and we're going to go out there and upset some teams. The ball is going to every single tight end and receiver and all that and the other. Jones hasn't made the back-breaking mistake too often. And even in the game that he almost did against the Cardinals in week 3, he came back and led what was a game-winning drive against that Cardinals defense. He also helped beat the Rams early in the season too. Like, that can't be forgotten either. I think Mac Jones put you in a really great place to be as a franchise who hasn't had their offensive quarterback and their top wide receiver and don't have their defensive stars either. Mac Jones, I think, came in and exceeded the expectations. This fan base never wanted Mac Jones. When I, during the offseason, said, here's 5 guys I think they're going to target, and Mac Jones is one of them, all the comments were, you got to be freaking kidding me. Like, there's no way. I don't want McCorkle here in San Francisco.
McCorkle!
And like, now the fan base is like, oh my God, stick with him. And like, he's been a saving grace for them. So under the guise of what you want your backup quarterbacks to do, Mac Jones has shown to be the best backup quarterback in football, not named Joe Flacco this year. And I can say he's probably been a top 20 quarterback all year long, which has been a godsend for this team.
And for me, I would give him an A, maybe even an A+, but definitely an A because, look, the guy's been tough. The guy has played through injuries. The guy has inspired the team to keep fighting in games in which they probably could have lost. And I think that says a lot about his character, and he's played really well. I mean, he's 13 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. I think for a guy who came in the offseason on a 2-year contract, I think he's done a really good job as the starting quarterback with bearing all the injuries that we've had to the offense. He's kept this team afloat. And for that, I salute him. And I thank him for all of his hard work because I don't know where we'd be without him.
Yeah.
And some would say they should just stick with Mac Jones. But I think, look, Brock Purdy is the guy you chose as your franchise quarterback. He's healthy enough to play now. He says he feels great. This is your opportunity to see to let Brock do his thing. Now, I know Sterling and I talked about this yesterday. I feel like if Brock does struggle mightily the next 2 games, I think, then you could say, maybe let's make a change after the bye week or before the Browns game, and so he doesn't get crushed by Myles Garrett. But if he plays good football Sunday and then the following week on Monday, the sky's the limit. This could be the guy that comes in and really, I wouldn't say turns the season around, but sends this season in the right direction with, positive quarterback play. And it's not to say that Mac Jones was bad at all, but I think this should be an upgrade from Mac Jones. Sterling, do you believe that Brock Purdy will be an upgrade from Mac Jones?
This should be the most optimistic every Niner fan has been since Brock Purdy, Fred Warner, and Nick Bosa went down. You should feel really good about yourself if you're a Niner fan right now. I'm not saying they're going to go to the Super Bowl. I'm not saying they're going to make a magic run. But you are getting, with a 6-4 record and 4 winnable games ahead of you in the next 5 weeks or so, which includes the bye week, you have a chance to run the gauntlet, win the next 4 games with your franchise quarterback under center once again, your number one receiving threat opening up your offense, and a running game that has found some semblance of itself in 2 of the last 4 weeks. If you win 4 more games, which the next 4 games are very winnable, you're probably going to the playoffs, and you're setting yourself up for maybe a Week 17 game against the Bears to clinch the 16th seed, or to clinch the 6th seed or the 7th seed in the wild card. Like, you're in a great opportunity. You don't know what Week 16 against the Colts looks like or what Week 18 against the Seahawks looks like, but man, like, I don't know what Brock Purdy's health looks like either. Like, if Purdy is 85% of himself or 95% of himself, how can you not, as a fan, sit there and say, our franchise quarterback is back, let's go on a run? Now, how far does that run take you? I don't know. There's a hard ceiling to this team, but undoubtedly, the ceiling is a little less hard. It's a little softer. It's a little more malleable with Brock Purdy as the quarterback. Yeah. And I think it just changes things for you. Now, there is credence to the play the hot hand conversation. I get that. But your offense right now is scoring 22 points a game or 20 points a game.
Yeah.
It's like 22nd in football. With this defense, that is not good enough.
But some would argue, though, that we're not giving Mac a chance to play with more of the starters. And that's understandable.
Which I get that. Yeah,
I get that too.
Which I get that. And I don't think people are wrong in that sense. However, no offense, you don't want Mac Jones playing with your starters. Not because you can't be good, not because of what it might look like, but you don't want your backup quarterback playing with your star wide receivers and your star running backs. You want your starting quarterback, the guy you're paying $53 million to play with the starters, knowing it elevates them, knowing it elevates him on top of that, and you have one of the best play callers in football behind him, making everything work. So as a Niner fan, I know the season has been kind of dry, and there's been a lot of boo-hooing and been bad things and injuries, and all that's kind of dragged the team down and dragged kind of the I guess you can say the fan base's kind of thoughts on where they can go this year down, and I get that, but I'm feeling pretty good. I think they're going to beat the Cardinals. I have a really high opportunity or optimism they're going to beat the Panthers, and they're going to beat the Titans and beat the Browns, and by the end of week, I don't know, whatever week 15, they're going to be 10-4. And we're going to sit back and go, oh my God. And fans are going to start turning and saying, thank God Brock Purdy came back. Thank God Pearsall's healthy. And I think that's right where you want to be, in the thick of things, with your quarterback coming back fully healthy.
Yeah, and we talk about, you were saying that, Mac Jones is in there only averaging about 20 points a game. There was this comment from Greg Cosell where he said, right now the 49ers offense is very condensed, which I think makes Mac Jones' numbers a little deceptive. He played very, very well for what he is. The longest pass play was 22 yards. There's no real verticality to their pass game. Now, some would argue that, well, hey, look, he didn't have Pearsall. He didn't have Ayuk. For the longest time, he didn't even have George Kittle. But, Aaron, do you think this is a valid statement from Greg Cosell? And do you think this will improve now that these guys are coming back and Brock Purdy's back?
I mean, they're always kind of a condensed offense. Don't you guys think that? Like, just the way that they play? It doesn't
it's
really...
all over the middle. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even with Garoppolo and even with Purdy, though, their offense essentially lives in the 5 to 8 yard range over the middle. Just the extra thing you get is mobility. That's the thing that you get with Brock Purdy. My thoughts are that they need as much help on offense as humanly possible because their defense puts them at such a disadvantage anytime they're on the field. I mean, they essentially, the way they beat the Rams the first time around is they hid their defense on the sideline for, a couple of really long drives to get them the lead in a game that if there was any other way, I mean, they can't stop the Rams. They haven't shown that they can stop the Rams at any point this season when the Rams are clicking and when they're humming. So,
yeah,
my issue, my feeling is I am cautiously optimistic that the offense can put up more points with Brock just because Brock's a starting quarterback and he adds some things, including the vertical passing game, which is weird because he doesn't have a really strong arm. But man, they're going to really have to help their defense. I mean, I don't have any confidence in the defense at all, like zero. Like if it was a 1 to 10, I'm like at a minus 0.5. Like I don't feel any goodwill on that defense. I'm sorry, I don't. And that's where my mind is every time I think about like, okay, we're going to go against some schlubs in the next 4 weeks. Sure. And while that excites me that we can get 4 wins, it's like, wow, when we went against the best of the best, we got our asses totally whipped. So I'm kind of in this weird place where like, yes, I want us to get into the playoffs. Yes, I want us to be successful. I want Brock to be successful. But like, I'm looking at it kind of with a different viewpoint. Like, we're good, we're doing well, but like, let's see us go against in another 5-6 weeks. Let's go against a team with a good record and see how we fare.
But Brock should elevate us. Brock should elevate this offense to another level. And I think there's some doubt in the air that like, can he elevate this offense? Is he the guy to do that? Not only because, yes, he has some physical limitations, but he's coming off an injury. And is that injury still lingering? I mean, he said, I felt pretty good, when I came back against Jacksonville, and I put my foot in a weird position, and then that was it. That's kind of like, what if that happens again? God forbid. But here's the thing. If Brock does go down again, we know that Mac Jones is still there. So it's like, it's right back to where we came from. So look, if Brock goes down, yes, it'll be horrible, but at least you have the luxury of having Mac Jones there to back him up. And when you look at who's coming back, I mean, the Niners offense is almost 100%. If not, just missing Brandon Ayuk is the biggest injury right now. You got Brock Purdy, McCaffrey, Robinson, Pearsall, Jennings, Bourne, Robinson again, George Kittle, Jake Tonjes, and the entire offensive line is back. Do you think we're going to see a big difference in our offensive efficiency and how many points we score within the next 4 weeks? Sterling, what do you think?
Oh, the next 4 weeks, you're playing pretty bad teams at offenses that really don't have the ability to retaliate. The defense isn't great. We know that. And I think they're going to struggle against the top offenses in football. Every team struggles against the Rams. Most teams struggle against the Buccaneers. The Texans game is a bad outlier of that grouping, but I think you see San Francisco, and I think Kendrick Bourne hinted at it, of like, we win and beat a team and then feel really good about ourselves, and then we get dog raced, and it's like, oh crap. And you get humbled and you come back, and there needs to be some consistency there. And obviously they've been playing a bad opponent, a good opponent, a bad opponent, a good opponent. So it does make that, that outcome look, more clear, I guess. But I think San Francisco and their offense, albeit the running game hasn't found itself just yet. There needs to be more consistency there, which if it was the entire offensive line minus Jake Brendel, I'd probably feel a little bit better about how things look the rest of the season. But I don't see a reason why San Francisco's offense couldn't average 27 points over the next 4 weeks, and if not score 30 twice. The Panthers are probably the best defense they're going to play outside of the Browns, who are a great team, but their offense is so bad they can't even respond. So I think San Francisco scores 27 points this Sunday against the Cardinals. I think they can score 30 against the Titans. And if they can get 27 or 22 against the Browns, they should win those games. And I don't know, maybe it's the optimist to me. Maybe it is me kind of like, this is the time, make your run. This is when you want guys back. It's when you want Shanahan cooking with his franchise quarterback, the quarterback he paid money to, with George Kittle and Christian McCaffrey and the receivers coming back. And like, it's all starting to kind of fall into place at the perfect time for San Francisco. And I think the right guys are there to execute things correctly, at least offensively, to help offset how bad the defense can be. We talked all year. The offense had to be the unit to carry them, even if they were fully healthy. We said the offense has to be the ones to carry the load, knowing you're going to have to ride the ups and downs of the defense. Now it's going to be more downs and ups for the defense as the year goes on. Can the offense answer? And I think that they can. Now, I'm not going to say they're going to score 35 points again. That's crazy. But I think on paper, if you told any Niner fan coming into the year, you have your entire offense healthy walking into week 11, you're like, oh, hell yeah, we're scoring 30 a game. And I don't know why fans are hesitant towards that now. I get Purdy's injuries there, and the run game isn't perfect yet, but like the passing game has been phenomenal all year with Mac Jones. Yeah. Why couldn't it be that good with Brock Purdy as the year progresses?
And I think everyone leans on, the arm strength. He can't zip the ball like Mac Jones. And I think that Mac Jones does have a stronger arm, but we'll see how Brock does on Sunday. Aaron, do you think that this offense will now be the side of the team that carries his team, as opposed to early on in the season, it was the defense carrying us. They all got hurt, and now the offense has gotten all healthy. Do you think the offense can carry this team?
They don't have a choice. They have to be the unit that carries the team. You could say what you want about Brock Purdy and that he plays only well when he has the Avengers. Well, he's got 9/10 of the Avengers ready to roll with him, with Pearsall, Kittle, and Jennings and Christian McCaffrey. So, I mean, to me, Brock Purdy just needs to be what he was in the past. And you can say whatever you want about him. He's a facilitator, man. He's a point guard. That's what he does. So freaking what? I don't care. If it gets us wins, I don't care. They're going to need to be more explosive. They have to score over 30, 35 points maybe in some of these games coming up, because their defense is essentially just a turnstile at a concert. Like, they just don't do anything. They don't offer any challenge. They don't rush the passer. They can't cover, and they don't stop the run. So, I hope that Brock is what he has been when he's been healthy, and they need it. They need it more than ever. If everybody wants us to get into the playoffs and hurt somebody's seeding or mess up somebody's season by going in and beat, then that has to happen. They don't have a choice. And if he plays deep, like, how do I put this? Can you go back to Mac Jones if Purdy struggles?
Yeah.
No.
And it's not health related, or do you have to stick with Brock?
If it's not health related, then I think you got to stick with Brock and say, dude, you got to figure it out. Because, I mean, look, we're not going to win the Super Bowl this year. Well, you never know. You never know. However, if
I hate that line of thinking. I hate that shitty.
Well, you never know. All of a sudden, this week, Stafford goes down.
Being realistic. This team is never going to go to the Super Bowl, no matter how good they were.
You never know what could happen.
It's such a Gen Z mindset. You could tell people who haven't lived through us winning Super Bowls. That shit, we're like,
it's just being realistic. This team isn't good enough.
No, I know that they're not good enough. I just hate that it essentially early in the season came from the front office, and the vibe was set that, like, well, guys, we're resetting, and last year sucked 6-11. We're gonna suck too this year because we're gonna have a lot of young guys, and we're gonna cut. They're okay this year. They're not great.
They're 6-4. They can go to the playoffs.
I mean, realistically,
they have a lot of holes. I'm not saying you're wrong. Like, the defense has a lot of issues, but like, they're a very competitive team in the thick of things.
I mean, look at last week. They were down 21-0, and they came back and made it 21-14.
That was an 8-point game going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah. And if they're healthier,
the biggest difference was the bad offensive play in the first quarter and the bad defensive play. If they can find a way to erase that, which may never happen, the first quarter changed the entire game of that one against the Rams.
But they're not. They haven't been good enough this year to make up for those kind of situations.
Correct.
Yeah.
But I can also push back and say, well, they're playing the best offense in football. What'd you expect?
Okay,
okay. I mean, I can say something, but I just
go ahead, please. Like, yes, bring it. Come on, I want it.
That really to me is indicative of just the way we looked at this team coming into this year. We were coming off a 6-11 record. We sucked last year. We had most of our starting defense playing, though. It was our starting offense that was missing. Bosa played, Warner played.
Yes.
Greenlaw was missing, but whatever. Hufanga had played at times, but he sucked when he was actually
early. Yeah.
So last year was a total failure. And I think, just coming into this year and having this kind of expectation this year, where the Niners are really thin in their roster. They don't have a ton of depth. They're going to have to depend on their offense because their defense is young. You come into this year kind of okay, well, we're not going to win a Super Bowl again this year either. So it's just a weird thing for me because I was even I don't know, growing up, it was Super Bowl or failure. And it's changed now to be, we did pretty good and we got close. So that kind of translates to we're good enough. And I feel
but that's a 15-year window of a dynasty run of 5 Super Bowls with 2 franchise Hall of Fame quarterbacks and an amazing team around them. This team doesn't have that and hasn't had that for 30 years. Yeah,
but it's still your outlook on the season should be either you're winning the Super Bowl or the season was an abject failure. You're in a results business where winning trumps anything else.
Sure, I get that. And yes, I think every Niner fan would say, I want to win the Super Bowl. I think every fan would, scream from the heavens, this team lost 2 ones that were very winnable. And that's terrible. That's probably a big crux of a lot of the fans' anger towards the front office of you had 2 of them. Had you won at least one of them, I can accept having to reset at a certain point.
Right. Like the Rams, we talked about this last week. Remember, exactly. I was okay, you were the Rams reset. And I was yeah, but the Rams won. So it makes it okay for the fans that know this year is probably not going to be that year, just being realistic. And last year definitely wasn't either. So you're taking 2 years from 3 prom players on your team and pretty much saying hey, 2026, that's our year. I know we wasted 2 years of Trent's, CMC's, and Kittle's prime, but that's okay because 2026 is me. It's such a weird. It's
weird. Are you wasting
to me.
Bosa's prime? He's hurt again. Are you wasting Warner's prime? He's out for the rest of the season.
Definitely not. No, you're definitely not wasting Bosa's for sure. I think you wasted Fred's.
But he's out for the year. This year's already wasted on him. And we didn't know that coming in.
If we make it to the NFC title game, he might come back.
Hey, maybe.
Just throw that out there.
I would just say, why is it okay for the Rams to have a reset year, be somewhat competitive, and knowing they're probably not going to win a Super Bowl a couple of years ago, but they're going to have a defense with a lot of young guys on it that are going to make mistakes and hopefully grow at the end of the year. But San Francisco can't.
They went all in and won. They went a whole 5 or 6 year period where they didn't care about the draft and they just consistently try to make their team be as good as possible. And
the
every
Niners
year
did the exact same thing and just happened to fail.
The Niners have gone more of the draft way. They've tried to build and elongate their window by having drafted players be re-signed.
I don't think so, man. They traded 3 first-round draft picks for Trey Lance. That was a F them picks move. It was stupid. It didn't work. I'm not saying that it worked out because it was terrible. I'm just saying they went the F them picks route. 2nd-round pick for D Ford, 2nd-round pick for Jimmy Garoppolo, 3 first-round draft picks for Trey Lance.
They were closer to their window than they were this year. So I think that's why they made those moves because they were hey, we got the young core, let's go.
So they have to reset.
Right.
The window,
I think. In the window.
The window's closed. The Niners Super Bowl window closed. It can be reopened, but it's going to take, like I said, 2026 with the draft.
You got to reset.
Yeah.
And take a step back, and hopefully it works out.
But that's the thing, though, is that it's easy to say, well, they need to reset. And they do. But it's we also got to be competitive as well. Now, granted, all the injuries on defense but all the injuries on defense doesn't give you much hope that they can compete against the elite teams if they were to make the playoffs. So I think that's what's really tough.
It's not real
tough pill to swallow. Now, let's go to some of the questions in the chat before we go to our the game breakdown for Week 11. Mick Malo says, do you guys think Demo would play? He's questionable. At this point, I don't think he plays. I think they're going to start Darrell Luter and Renardo Green. And Luter has played well in his starts. So I think
against Jacksonville.
I think that they're going to go with Luter. And here's the thing. I know Asante Samuel Jr. was in for a workout.
That was
I don't think that he's in a position where he could have even started.
You know what I mean? Him, right?
Yeah, the Steelers did. So they probably promised him a bigger role if he went there, but who knows?
I'd get a safety in free agency before I ever signed a corner. Shoot.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, Gabriel says none of the offenses in the next 4 weeks can compare to the Rams. The defense should play better because of the competition. I think this is true.
I hate that.
But still, it's a fact, and I think that these next 4 games gives San Francisco an opportunity to sort of retool their offense and get their offense in gear so that when they play the Colts, the Bears, and the Seahawks, their offense may be in a better position where they can continue to score and play at a high level. We saw what Brock did against Seattle in week 1. They were coming after him nonstop. He was pressured, I want to say, more than 50% of his dropbacks. And yes, he threw 2 picks, but he still helped them win that game. He led them down the field to win that game. Yep. So that's pretty huge in itself. But as for the Demo question, I do think that he probably won't play. Do you think he'll play, Aaron?
No, not this late in the week to be questionable. I just don't understand. Was it a practice injury again?
That's what it sounds like. It sounds like maybe he pulled something or whatever, which I don't know if that was because it was raining yesterday and the weather changed, maybe tightened the muscles up. Maybe that was the case, but
you know what though? He's been playing like shit the past 2 games. So you know what? Yeah. Maybe it's time you put Luter in there and let Demo watch and be like, fuck, I gotta figure it out.
What are you really missing?
He's like, I'm the hyena, but he's getting lit up.
You gave up 42 to a Rams team. Like, wow, he really, what was that one play where like Stafford scrambled and he was like covering air? Like
he went to go rush Stafford and left the tight end wide open behind him and then turned around and was like, who's covering my guy? And it was like, you were supposed to be. Which I get it. Heat of the moment, it's kind of tough. You see a quarterback scrambling, but it's like, just Stafford will throw the ball away, live to fight the next down, and there seemed to be this over-aggressive nature, which,
Yep, I agree.
Often hurts San
49 reminded writes,
Bashar,
Bashar, I know in hindsight is 2020, but our drafting definitely needs to be questioned. If we drafted Drake Jackson a few spots ahead of Nick Bonito, the guy straight up beast for the Broncos, yes, that would have been
Bashar pounded the table for that. I think even Bashar got, I don't know, Bash, did we do like a stream or something where you were just so hot that Bonito wasn't picked? I don't remember. There was a lot of anger in the Niners fan base that Bonito.
Can you imagine if they would have drafted Bonito? That would have been so much better.
Knowing us, though, he'd probably be hurt right now.
I mean, look, yeah, he'll probably be hurt. But still, like having him and Bosa on the same line would have been huge. And then again, if they never made the trade for Trey Lance, they likely could have drafted Micah Parsons. I mean, when you look at the possibilities that were there by not making that Trey Lance trade, I think the team would have been better now than if Trey Lance would have worked out. It would have helped the team, but I feel like the draft picks they gave up to get him made the team even worse. And so it makes you wonder, who could they have drafted if they never traded for Trey Lance? And we know that Micah Parsons may have been somebody that they would have drafted. I think they had the 11th pick or the 14th pick or something like that.
11th pick, yeah.
And so there's a good chance they take Micah Parsons, knowing John Lynch and how he values pass rushers. That would have been crazy.
That is the single worst move of any regime ever. Like, I don't think that's crazy to say, and you can get into the nitty-gritty about Lance and all that crap that went on with it and whatever, but like,
no, it was bad.
That is a fireable offense for any other regime that somehow has found a way to be successful still, which is great. Like, I'm happy about it, but that not only set their window back, it hindered the roster going forward. That you talk about the windows they missed or the window being closed now, like that is a major reason for it. Think about that. Picks in 2021, 2022, and 2023. At least 2 of those guys are still on the roster today. Yeah. Whether it is a tackle or a guard or a center or a receiver or a cornerback, who knows? We don't know who they're going to pick. But like that is the single worst move of probably any team. I mean, do I dare go back to the Saints trading their entire draft for Ricky Williams? Like that's how bad it was. And like you gave the Dolphins, I guess in retrospect, Bradley Chubb and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. And I know they haven't done anything with that, but it's like, my God, of all the misses you've made, that's the one. Like it all stems back to you messed up so bad
Yeah.
that you almost deserve to lose because of that decision you made. And it was so emotional and so idiotic. Kyle and Jimmy just couldn't get along, and the injuries, and he had to move on because 2020 was so bad. That is, I think, a lot of people's reasoning for hating Kyle Shanahan. Of you couldn't get out of your feelings for one off season. You had to go make a move in the worst quarterback class in the last 15 seasons. All those guys suck besides Mac Jones right now, basically. And he's your backup quarterback.
And he's your backup quarterback.
How bad?
In his fifth year.
Well, how mad would you guys have been if Mac was the guy that was drafted? Because that would have set, and a lot of people wouldn't have been happy with that, including myself.
I think when you look, I would not have liked that at 3. I kept saying, don't draft Mac Jones at 3. That's the guy you could have got, at 11. Look where he went.
12,
and so, when you compare that trade, that to me, that is the equivalent of, sorry, Aaron, I got to bring this up again. That is the equivalent of the San Francisco Giants trading Francisco Liriano, Boof Bonzer, and Joe Nathan for AJ Przinsky. That was the absolute worst trade that they could have fucking made, and it set that franchise back so many years. They gave up what turned out to be a phenomenal starter in Liriano and a closer that had a long-lasting career, and then we ended up getting him back at the very end of his career in like his twilight days. I was like, man, what a slap in the face.
We got Joe Nathan back? Really?
We did. He came back on his last season. He came back second half of the year. But by then, he was already so old that he wasn't even a closer anymore. I was just like, fuck. And Boof Bonzer was a serviceable starting pitcher for a lot of years. But to me, that's right on par because it set them back so far. And imagine if they said, no, we're not going to make this trade. We're going to stick with Jimmy Garoppolo. And we're going to draft the best player available, which could have been Micah Parsons. But at this point,
better.
The only thing that has bailed them out from that mistake is Brock Purdy. And he's coming back this Sunday to take on the Arizona Cardinals.
You want about it. Yep.
So let's segue to our Week 11 matchup against the Cardinals. Guys, we know the Cardinals have a lot of injuries, big-time injuries. Their secondary, banged up. No Will Johnson. Their linebacker, Wilson, is out.
Wilson, yeah.
Mac Wilson. Who was that guy in the draft that had the little short arms? Mac. Remember we were making fun of him? He has short arms. Anyway. So Mac Wilson is out, and he was a big reason why we couldn't even run the football. He was dominating out there. He won't be out there. Now they are going to have their pass rushers in Josh Sweat, Walter Nolan, Calais Campbell, the guy who just never seems to get old. So they do have that, and of course they do have. Kenny 49ers.
Baron Browning's also out. That's actually a big thing. Baron Browning's out for the Cardinals, so their other pass rushers out. So that's actually kind of a nice thing.
But they do have Trey McBride, and I think that is where they're going to try to attack the Niners is McBride against our linebackers, because we know that D. Winters has not done a great job in coverage. That was one of the things that we talked about in the offseason is that he had high pass coverage numbers. Now it's gone the other way. Is it because of the dual knee injuries that he's suffering from? I don't know, but he has not looked good. And you have a very young linebacking core with Bethune and D. Winters. And God forbid, if they're smart, which Jonathan Gannon is smart, I think they attack Luke Gifford again with Trey McBride, because that's what they did with Ferguson.
Yep.
That's what McVay did. He attacked him with tight ends, and Luke Gifford, dude, he looked like Aaron trying to cover Ferguson out there, just like, oh! It was so bad. I was like, oh,
46-year-old overweight man versus a guy in the prime of his career.
And not only that, but like Ferguson totally pushed off of him, and he was like, hey, what the hell? Yeah, and they didn't even call that. They're just like, that's good. They were like, this Niner team sucks anyway. It doesn't matter. So with that being said, look, Niners are getting back Brock Purdy. They're getting back Ricky Pearsall. Exciting. How do you see this game shaking out, and what do you think are the keys to success for the 49ers? Let's start with Sterling.
Yeah, I think San Francisco is going to win. I think there's a lot of questions, a lot of worry, a lot of wondering as to what Brock Purdy looks like. I think San Francisco is going to come out and win this game 27-16. I have a lot of hope in this defense. I think they'll bounce back. They're playing not Matthew Stafford on Sunday. They're playing a backup quarterback who's, although playing better than Kyler Murray was, still it's a backup quarterback. That'll have some success for sure, but this defense can't be that bad every single week, right? It's just not going to be that bad every single game when they're playing a rather piss-poor offense that doesn't have their best receivers out there on the football field. I think San Francisco wins 27-16. Keys of the game: get pressure on Brissett, bring delayed blitzes, bring nickel blitzes, bring safety blitzes. I know there's coverage problems. He is the most pressured quarterback in football right now. You can get to him. He's a sitting duck. He will hold the football for 3 seconds. That is an eternity. You can get him off his spots. He's not going to beat you with his legs. He's not going to make plays. I think for San Francisco's offense, take deep shots. They're not going to have their starting safety. Test those guys early. They're going to stack the box. They're going to want to get pressure on Purdy and test his foot early. How does that look? How do you do that? Deep shots and a bunch of screen passes. Feed CMC. Feed Jake Tunges, feed George Kittle, get guys out in open space, pull the offensive lineman out into space and get them leading your ball carriers. I think that's the big key to this game. You don't want Purdy back there holding the football, wondering where he's going with it. Make decisions easy, simple, and avoid a further injury to that toe. Don't make Brock Purdy have to be mobile. That should be San Francisco's number one objective. How can we keep him in the pocket? How do you do that? Screen passes, get guys in open space, get your blockers out in space, and feed your stars. Let Kittle and CMC be the dink and dunk fest on Sunday as Purdy works his way back into the fray. You can win this game like that. That's how I think San Francisco wins 27-16 on Sunday against the Cardinals.
All righty. Aaron, what do you got?
I agree with everything you had to say about the offense to a T, like 100%. I would love to see a little bit more ball control too, as well, if they can, if it's possible. Don't score quickly, kind of hold on to that thing. I feel like the defense is still a liability. I feel like as long as Luke Gifford's out there covering tight ends, we're going to have problems. And I don't see the pass rush, even with a compromised quarterback like a Jacoby Brissett. I still don't see the Niners getting close to him during the game. I think the Niners win 37-25. I think it's going to be quite a
holy
shootout.
Hell. Damn. Okay.
I think it's going to be quite a shootout. I just think the Niners defense they're playing with backups and listen, as much as I crap on the defense for being what they are, they have a ton of guys hurt. So they are what they are. Their defensive line from week 1 to now is essentially, I think, like, what is it? Like everybody but Huff is gone. So like 3/4 of your line are gone. I would have loved to have seen Nick Martin, even though I know he plays a different position, be worked into things.
That's why I didn't pull up the comment. I know Bashar said that. And I was like, dude, Sterling's going to be like, wait a minute. He doesn't play the same position.
I know. I knew Sterling would attack me on that one. I listened to some of the things Larry was saying about 6 players that he would start, and I guarantee that's not going to happen at any point this season. But no, I feel like the defense is still a liability. I feel like they give up a ton of points, but the Niners outscore them. The Niners have too many weapons on offense for this game to be close. I just don't think the Niners defense on the other side of it is good enough to really beat or really stop anybody, even a compromised team like the Arizona Cardinals. So 37-25.
All right. As for me, I think that the Niners are going to win this game because the Cardinals are decimated. Yes, they're at home, but I think the Niners are going to have some momentum on their side, getting Pearsall back, getting Brock Purdy back. I see the Niners winning this game 31-21. And this being a game where everyone's like, dude, I'm so glad Brock is back. Now, how are we going to win this game? For me, the keys to the game is you have to be able to run the football. We saw what the Seahawks did to the Cardinals last week up in Seattle. If you can run the ball on these guys, you can really dictate the game, the pace of the game as well, and the time of possession. And I think that's what they're going to try and do. I told Sterling this yesterday. I feel like Shanahan is going to test that toe early in the game because while he's fresh, while he's not aggravated in any way, I think you're going to see a lot of play action early in this game. Get Brock stretched out, get him throwing the ball, get him moving a little bit. And we're going to see the Niners really go for that opening touchdown to really set the tone for the rest of this game. I see Niners winning this game 31-21 because the defense is not very good. They are going to give up 21 points. But I think the Niners getting Pearsall back, getting Brock Purdy back, and having their line kind of healthy again, I think they're going to find a lot more success in scoring. So I see that final score of 31-21. I don't see the defense making a huge effort to stop these guys. However, I don't see the Arizona offense being able to really move the ball all that great against the Niners. Getting Alfred Collins back, I think that's going to really slow down the running game up the middle, which is going to slow down Arizona. And really, I don't think they should be blitzing more than 50% of the time. I think that, this is a game where you got to let your front four at least give them a chance to get out there and blitz on some third downs, but not blitz, on first or second down whatsoever. I think third down is a blitzing down. Get pressure on Jacoby Brissett when you have to. And I think that, look, the guy, like you said, he holds the ball for 3 seconds. That's like 1,000, 2 1,000. That's a long time. So I think the Niners need to be able to get pressure on him, but they can't give up free rushers, which when you have a blitzing rusher, maybe a corner, a safety, or a linebacker, that usually means there's somebody open out on the field. Now, I think one thing Niner fans are going to notice is this is not Matthew Stafford. This is Jacoby Brissett. And look, I like Jacoby Brissett a lot. I think he's a really good quarterback.
Yeah, he's fine.
I think he might be the heir apparent to Mac Jones. But I don't think he's going to carve you up the way Matthew Stafford did. I mean, at the end of that game against the Rams, Stafford was literally toying with the Niners defense. Doing the hard count and getting them to jump off sides. He was just like, got him. At that point, he was just having fun because he knew there was nothing they could do. I mean, he's doing no-look passes. You know what I mean? It was just like, my God, this is comical at this point. And the way he played, I was like, man, I hate saying this, but I was like, man, I wish we had Matthew Stafford. That would have been
Yeah. Almost did.
But yes, I see the Niners winning 31
hand grenades.
I know.
It's true.
I see him winning 31-21, and this being a Niners win. Niners
Have you heard that story of what
7-4.
happened that night? That the Rams got Stafford?
Yeah. I heard him, Shanahan, and McVay talking about it in the interview. Where
that was one of those, like, Niners thought they were in a good place with Detroit. Shanahan goes to bed in Cabo, and McVay makes the call at midnight and is like, "You want Jared Goff and 2 first-round draft picks?" And they were like, "Yeah." And Shanahan was like, "What the hell? I thought we had a deal."
Well,
Crazy
but he also said,
what a
too,
swindle.
Shanahan also said that his sources that told him, we're in a good spot. You don't have to rush into this. And then he did say recently, he's like, yeah, I actually got a call from a friend of mine. And he said, hey, if you want Stafford, you need to go now. And he said, I mean, I have a source that says that I could sleep on this. So I think we'll be okay. And then they made the trade and he was like, God damn it. And he had watched all kinds of tape.
Hey, by the way, there's a new documentary coming out called The Rise of the 49ers.
It looks awesome. On AMC, right?
For an old head like me who lived through most of that, I'm ready to go.
Absolutely. So
back to when winning mattered. Yeah.
Right. Let's go over the scores one more time. Sterling has them winning 27-17. That was the score, wasn't it?
Yes. No,
yes.
27-16.
Whatever. 27-17, 49ers win. I'm up by a point. Come on. Aaron has them winning 37-25, just a complete lashing of offense all over them. Sterling hears something in the background. I don't know what it is. And I have them winning 31-21. And for me, I think this is, I don't want to say wishful thinking, but this is best case scenario. Offense finds its rhythm. Brock Purdy looks sharp. And the offense is able to score at will. And, oh, my God, what's going on?
There's dogs. I don't know where they're coming from.
It's not your dog?
I don't think so. It's in the house. I'll mute myself. Sorry.
No, I can't even hear the dog, so you're fine.
Wow. Random dog just entering his house. That's
I don't know what's going on, man.
Right in.
I don't know What's happening?
We got about 2 minutes left. Let's check it out. Jacoby Brissett, Chile, last 4 games, at least 2 touchdowns, over 250 yards passing in every game, rushing yards, a rushing TD as well. That's great. I don't see them doing that again. Again, remember, we have Robert Saleh as our defensive coordinator.
That's also super skewed.
Yeah, who were they playing in those games?
They played Seattle, and they were down by 38 in like the first quarter.
And at that point, Seattle's like, "Oh no, you threw another pass.
He
My
also
bad."
fumbled against the Seahawks too. We're just forgetting that. You put the Dallas Cowboys defense. They are legitimately the worst defense in football besides the Bengals. Yeah, Brissett's been playing good, but like, let's not act like you're not playing a world beater on Sunday. You're playing a mid-tier quarterback that can give you something better than Kyler Murray was, which is, again, a roller coaster ride on top of it.
So Howdy says, statistically speaking, Stafford and Purdy are the best anticipation throwers in the league. I would agree with that. I think they're both really good at that. Kenny 49ers says, I wish we had drafted Travion Henderson. We'd be a scary offense. I think so, but Travion Henderson would be sitting on the bench, and it'd be all Christian McCaffrey because he's a rookie, and he'd be like, Shanahan would be like, oh, I don't trust him.
He's not ready.
Cam's dad says Kyle's first series will be a very important to get 13-1 to settle in, go to 85-23. And that's the thing, is that I think, like I said, early play action, get him out, throwing the ball, try and see what you got mobility wise in Brock Purdy when he's still early and healthy. I think later in the game, you want to be able to run the football and just sort of put this game away with the running game. The Cardinals, like we talked about yesterday, will probably load the box, send pass rushers at Purdy, and that's why I think play action will benefit them a lot in this game. Guys, that's going to do it for the show. I want to thank Aaron. I want to thank Sterling. And I want to thank myself for coming out here and talking to you guys and going over all the 49ers news, getting you ready for kickoff this Sunday when the Niners take on the Cardinals in Arizona. Guys, real quick, where can they find you and all your content? Aaron, go.
49ers First Takes on Instagram, TikTok, and X.
All right. Sterling.
You can find me on social media at 49ers_access is the X, 49ers.access is the Instagram, and get the podcast where all podcasts are available and on YouTube.
And you can find me over on YouTube at Dre Area Sports, on X at Dre Area Sports, Instagram, Facebook. And if you want to support my channel, just go to my website, which is dreareasports.com. There are memberships available on the website, and that's the best way to support the channel. Everyone, go Niners. We'll see how they perform this Sunday. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be a great game. Brock Purdy is back. Ricky Pearsall is back. And let's see if the Niners can pull out a win and improve to 7-4. You're listening to the Cover 3 podcast on all 3 of our channels. All right, guys. Have a good night. Peace.